Okay, so continuing to field more questions here for USMLE. Mauna, okay, asks, how many NBME questions per day would you recommend during dedicated period? Thank you. I will address this question. So before we get started, allow me to be my typical asshole, tell you to subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Help grow this channel, share with one of your friends prepping for USMLE, help bring awareness to this channel. Hit the like button, hit the bell if you want notifications. Find me on Instagram at Mehlman_medical, Mehlman_medical. The link is down below. And find us on Telegram. We recently created a Telegram group and channel. The links are down below. Now let me address the fucking question from Mona, which was, how many NBME questions per day would you recommend during dedicated period? Thank you. Look, firstly, I would say when you say dedicated, does it mean 8 weeks out, 2 weeks out, etc.? But in general, if you're studying for step 1, this is very umbrella discussion, okay? If I were meeting with you, anyone watching this clip, if I were meeting with you in person, I would discuss more comprehensively your study history, your scores, strengths and weaknesses. There's much to consider, okay? So I'm making general comments right now that when we consider how many NBME questions per day should you study during dedicated, if you're prepping for step 1, usually 3 days per NBME exam. When we talk about forms 20 through 30, 3 days per NBME exam is good for many students, as in you sit the NBME on the first day, and then you spend the rest of that day, plus the subsequent 2 days, memorizing that NBME. Now, that might sound like an absurd amount of time for many students to say, really, 3 days per NBME? And I've made many clips on this. It's because my philosophy, my conviction in terms of what's going to get your score up the most for the step is memorizing the NBME forms. Okay, I've talked about how the real USMLE is the NBME, the CBSE, the questions are exactly the same. You want to memorize those NBME questions. Now, if you're scoring higher, let's say you're scoring 240s and higher, you're not going to be getting as many questions wrong, okay, per NBME form. So 3 days would be perhaps too much, okay? You can get the memorization done maybe in 2 days, okay? But my point is, I don't want you rushing through NBME exams where you do an exam on one day, you're like, okay, got it. You look at your incorrects, that's it, a very cursory overview, and you don't give appropriate time to memorizing those questions, all right? So that's for step 1. Generally during dedicated, give yourself 3 days per exam. That works for many students. And you're going to be integrating my high yield PDFs. You're going to be integrating review of your incorrects. I've talked about screenshotting your incorrects from the NBMEs into a Word document, saving as a PowerPoint/PDF, and reviewing as you go. Okay, so that also integrates or relates to how we space out the NBME exams. If you're studying for step 2, I would say do not do more than 2 clinical mastery series forms per day. So those are the subject-specific NBME forms, peds, obs, gyne, neuro, etc. You don't want to do more than 2 forms per day, okay? They can be extremely draining. The same way if you're doing QBank, I wouldn't recommend doing more than 80 questions per day. Doesn't matter how fast you are. I would not recommend doing more than 100 questions per day, so 2 CMS forms. And in terms of the review of forms, NBME forms 6 through 11, it'll be similar in terms of step 1. Just give yourself 3 days per exam, okay? As I prefaced with, it's going to, your exact plan, what's ideal for you as you're watching this clip, is going to depend on a multitude of factors, okay? I make very general statements because I need to be very broad in terms of addressing the concerns of you guys watching this, okay? You're at very different stages of your prep and different strengths, weaknesses, etc. Okay, so you know the deal. I'm going to continue making more content. If you like my stuff, subscribe to my channel. And I appreciate your time. That's it.